Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Dominic Mills podcast. Today, we are back with another great guest. Pam Muller, author of 33 Ways to Work with Your Dreams, is an expert on dreams. With over 17 years of studying the dreaming mind, sweet Georgia Pam knows how to bring dreams into the realm of the easily digestible soundbite. She is quickly gaining popularity on social media, helping to uncover the subconscious reasoning behind your dreams. We get into her life, everything you need to know about dreams and how to interpret them, and much more. But first, let's blast that intro. I am here with renowned dream expert Pam Muller. You may have seen her on social media as Sweet Georgia Pam, helping young people discover the meaning behind their dreams. Pam, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, where exactly does the moniker Sweet Georgia Pam come from?
Um, it was it was literally a creative brainstorm. I was trying to do the build your brand by it's like your full name.com, is your brand. And what I found when I wrote down Sweet Georgia Pam is that I could step into her and not bring along all the aspects of my life that aren't part of my professional work.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I really appreciate about it when it was this brainstorm that just happened in my journal page, I was like, oh, that feels safe.
Okay.
And when it comes to dream work and spiritual direction, and we're talking about all the deep, serious, vulnerable stuff, I really need to be able to meet people where they are, which is like, I'm in a place of curiosity and I'm not so sure about it. So, it's just a safe place to be.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
How did you get started? Where did your interest with dreams really spur from?
Yeah, I haven't always been a big dreamer, actually. When I'm going to call it young adult, in my young adulthood, I entered this like dark night of the soul phase of my life where I was trying to start a family and we were having some difficulty. And it kind of broke down everything that I thought I believed in that moment. And I had this crisis of faith and crisis of, um, it brought about depression and all this sort of dark stuff. So what happened was these dreams started showing up that were really wild and weird and bizarre. And I kind of escaped into my dream space. I was like, those are weird. What if those made sense? Wouldn't that be fun? So it became a playground for me for a little while to step into my dreams and start to try to figure out what they mean because my life itself wasn't making any sense. So I sort of stumbled into it accidentally. And then once it started to dawn on me that there was some meaningful truth that I could draw from my dreams, I was like, oh, everybody should know about this because everyone dreams. So I
Mm-hmm.
was hooked at that point.
Okay. Would you say you were a big daydreamer, or were your vivid dreams more like when you're, sleeping at night?
I was not a blah blah blah. It's a good question. I'm a deep feely person, so I live a pretty creative life, but I didn't consider myself creative for a long time. So I think that the only reason I wasn't a big daydreamer is because I wouldn't let myself play that role. So
Hmm.
most of that creativity originally showed up in the dream space, in night dreams for me.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about some of those vivid dreams that really kicked that passion for you.
Yeah, so I now she's a recurring character in my dreams, but I had a dream about a lioness who was stalking me. And
Mm.
when I went to hide from her, she like almost headbutted me and we had this telepathic conversation where she sort of yelled at me and then she stalked out of the room. So she kind of woke me up to dreams because she definitely was telling me some hey, pay attention to this. I have dreamt about deep swimming pools before where I can breathe underwater. And I have had a dream. This one dream comes to mind where I was in my childhood home and there was a red tent, and I was supposed to deliver an envelope under the door of this red tent. And what happened was we broke out into a water gun fight. the person that was in this tent. So pretty weird experiences,
Hmm.
but really colorful and fun or different enough to draw my curiosity in. And
Okay.
that's the trick with dream work, is like you get to follow your curiosity.
Yeah, I've always been really interested by the aspect of why we dream and what exactly each of our dreams mean. But
Mhm.
I've tried to keep a dream journal, but I cannot for the life of me stay consistent with it. It's so impossible, and I'll forget my dream like halfway through writing it down. But
Yep.
so, what exactly is the process behind dream interpretation?
So first of all, hooray, that is a great lead in, because everybody thinks that with dream interpretation you have to have this consistent dialogue. And it is important to have a dialogue, but it doesn't have to be consistent, because dreams have metaphorical meaning for your life, even if they're old dreams. Like, we can unpack a
Mm,
dream from when you were a child, and you're going to go like, "Oh my god, that's what that means? I had no idea." So they don't expire in their usefulness. They're just it's okay. I'm going to go back to your original question, because I started to go off on this tangent of like the unconscious and the
it's
way
okay.
the dream.
We can go wherever. I'm with it all.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Because where my little brain is heading is the way that the unconscious mind works. Is it's constantly sending you images and impressions and ideas that's nonverbal. So it communicates nonverbally. Your waking mind is the one that's the chatterbox. So your dreams are this sample of your mental activity, the way the unconscious mind processes things. So images are thoughts and ideas from a different part of your brain. So if we only use whatever the standard is, right? 18% of our use, or of our brain that we use to, think and function. The unconscious mind is this access to this deep wellspring of you speaking in this other language of image and metaphor.
Mm,
So you don't have to, you can even forget your dream halfway through while you're writing it down. And the part of your dream that you've already captured is full of insight and information for you to dive into. We can take a single, somebody can come to me and say, "I dreamt of a gray chair." The end. And we can go into and dive into, why would you dream of a gray chair right now in your life? Why would that be the image that comes up?
hmm.
Um, so we, with dream work, we can start anywhere with any part of your dream that you want to bring to the table. We'll start there, and you then will go, "Oh, well, also, well, now I remember." And you'll sort of start to get on that train of thought and add more to the conversation.
Okay,
It's a
that's
fantastic dialogue in session with me.
okay. So would you say that emotions, like a person's emotions in general, even if they're like you said, unconscious emotions, things they're not quite sure they know how they feel about, can permeate into how the dream works or even the construct behind the dream?
Yes, that's a great summary for it. Dreams actually contextualize our emotions. So when I was going through that dark period where I was not willing or interested in looking at my life and like processing the emotional stuff that I was going through at the time, my dreams were like this like storehouse of like, here's what you're really feeling, Pam, and we're going to show that to you in image form so that you can get it out of your body and get it out of your system. It's like a pressure valve release on emotions. Um, so yeah, our dreams are kind of built around an emotional fingerprint, if
Mm,
you will. Like a particular set of combination of emotions creates a strong dream image.
okay, that's really cool. I guess I keep finding myself in these dream scenarios where I there's like a terrible situation happening. Like I think the last one was like I was at like I don't even remember where it was, but it was some structure somewhere, and it was being attacked by like a terrorist. And the whole dream, I'm trying to get myself and other people like out of the situation. And it's like not that exact scenario isn't a repeating scenario, but it's that type of sort of thing where it's like somebody's attacking somewhere and we're getting out, or somebody's it's a dangerous scenario and I'm trying to escape. Um,
Mhm.
so you mentioning that just kind of has me trying to like go back and figure out what the cause of that would be or what the feeling behind that is.
Yeah, one of the things that I do with people when we start with a recurring dream is I ask the question of, when did it first happen? When do you first remember having that dream?
Mm. Oh man, it's been years. It's not like it's a super often recurring thing, but it's like
Mhm.
most of the dreams I remember are like that. I'll say like 5, 10 years maybe.
Okay. So whenever, whatever that idea for you is, it was about 5 or 10 years ago, you want to kind of examine, is there something that happened 5 or 10 years ago that has the same feeling tone as that dream? So the problem when we try to do dream interpretation, even me, is when you wake up from a dream, your logical mind comes right on board and you try to interpret it directly and go, okay, a red bird means I'm going to see a bird today,
Hmm.
or a terrorist means a terrorist, like, and you have to try to disengage your logical thinking, right? So the dream itself is a metaphor or a symbol that explores this feeling tone for you. So 5 or 10 years ago, is there something that was going on that you encountered that had that same feeling tone that might have created this dream?
I don't know. Maybe I always have this like thought to want to escape something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a really interesting question. I'm gonna have to leave for my therapist this week or
Yeah.
something.
Just
We'll have
let it take
yeah
up
we'll have to
space.
yeah we'll have to get into that. Oh.
This is true about dream work, though. I've
Hmm.
been on podcasts and radio shows and stuff, which I love to do so much. But also, there's a caveat of, when you tell a dream, you don't actually know what part of your story you're sharing. It's
Hmm.
some part of you, it's some like deep truth or deep thing that you've been affected by, and you don't know what it is, because our dreams show us the things we're not looking at. They show us our blind spots.
Okay.
So it is common in session where people are sharing a dream and we're unpacking it and throwing out ideas and metaphors, and they suddenly go, "Oh my God." And they're in their deep emotional story all of a sudden, right?
Hmm.
So for example, when I started dreaming about, there's this one dream I had about being in the woods during the winter, and I came upon this deep blue pool of water that had all these baby seahorses in it. And it was mesmerizing, these baby seahorses. And when I worked the dream and unpacked it for meaning, it suddenly hit me that, my issue had been infertility, and we had been considering fertility assistance, and these baby seahorses were the feeling tone of embryos for me.
Mm.
And I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, we're going to address it head on." Okay.
Hmm.
It was like my dream is going, now, Pam, let's deal with this feeling. Here you go. Dive
Wow.
in and explore this feeling for yourself. So it's deep work,
Yeah,
but we don't
and
know we're doing that work until we get in it.
I want to have dreams as vivid as yours. I feel like there's so much this beautiful imagery behind yours, and I'm not I'm not experiencing that.
Yeah.
When you say that it's a lot of times it's that thing that we have to uncover, unpack. What is the process that goes into that?
Yeah. So the way that we do it is, you share your dream with me, and then I get really detailed about your dream experience. So I then ask you questions like, what time of day is it? We get really detailed into the visualization of the dream so that I can step into my version of your dream. So we're kind of experiencing the journey together as close as possible. So your dreams, I always say this, are from you and to you and for you. And so ultimately, you are the one that's going to decide what it means for you. But I can step into my version of your dream and I can say, okay, knowing what I know about the dreaming mind, things that happen on the left are generally considered um, internal or yin energy or feminine energy or in the darkness or in the unconscious. Things that happen on the right side in a dream are generally considered masculine energy or extroverted or things that happen in the outside world. And so we go through your dream together, and I throw in all of these ideas of what it would mean for me if it was my dream. So I'm
Mm.
adding metaphor and symbolism, and I would also wonder what happened to me at this age, or maybe my father's involved, or whatever. And your job as the dreamer is to see which pieces of those really resonate with you and strike a new idea for you or a new waking life connection for you. So we get to have this amazing back and forth conversation. And then I follow the dreamer's lead of where we're going to go in interpreting the dream. Does that make sense? Is that
That does
kind
make
of
sense.
painting a picture?
It does make sense. It's like you're taking yourself into that dream and you're trying to figure out like, okay, what would this mean if you're seeing it when you're looking at it through that scope. Really, it really allows you to get an objective view behind it.
Yeah, right, right. And dream diction, the first place people go, the first place I went was you Google what your dream means and you look up dream dictionaries and all of that, which are a good place to start. They're not wrong. They're just two dimensional. They're just, here's a single image and what that image might mean, right? So, what I do is I step into the three-dimensional world of the dream space with you, and we move through it as an entire experience together. And we take those dream dictionary ideas and come up with a pretty concise summary of the meaning of this moving picture that your dreaming mind has offered to you.
Okay. So how do you guys, or how do you differentiate dreams like that, where a lot of times it's like a movie you're a part of, versus
Mhm.
lucid dreams where people are more interactive with what is happening in the dream?
Yeah. So lucid dreams is like engaging your conscious awareness into it's so then you really do have a back and forth dialogue, right? So I'm going to veer a little bit, but I'm come back to your question. The reason that I am both a dream expert and a trained spiritual director is because as I started doing dream work with people, I thought I was just interpreting with them their dreams. We move into this conversation of the deeper questions. Where is the divine? The deeper questions of morality, the deeper questions of how can I dream something that then comes true the next day? What do I do
Mhm.
with that piece of information, right? Where interpretation itself falls short. So my certification in spiritual direction helped me learn how to say, I don't know. And let's sit in the wonderment
Hmm.
of this experience. So my job in that case when you bring a lucid dream to me is really to sit and take that experience seriously with you so that together you can share it with me. I believe you. It's a real experience and we can talk about what did your like the things I would wonder in that case with lucid dreaming is I wonder why you chose to do it that way. I wonder why you chose to change that thing as opposed to anything else in the dream. So I
Mm.
follow my curiosity in that case, and
Okay.
then we continue down that track. But it steps a little bit outside of this is what your dreaming mind is telling you, and it moves into wondering about your choices and what's driving those because the here's the other piece is the dreamer inside the dream, you in the dream kind of represent your own ego identity. So why would your ego choose to do that thing in the dream?
Yeah, that's really cool. What would you say when you interpret your own dreams? What was your interpretation? What was the process behind interpreting your last lucid dream? Like, how? Walk me through it. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm actually not a lucid dreamer. For my experiences, when as soon as I recognize that I'm dreaming, I wake up. My
Mm.
I don't know,
Wow.
my ego doesn't want to play that
Mm.
game, I guess. It's like, no, let's just be in control 100% and come out of this dream. My son recently has shown a lot of interest in lucid dreaming, and there are lots and lots of resources. He's teaching me how to practice doing reality checks in the day so that you can practice becoming aware that you're dreaming. But it's just not part of my experience. And
Okay.
I just want to add about that for everybody, that I think that is what makes me so excited about doing dream work, is that literally anybody can do it, even if you never remember your dreams, even if you're not a good lucid dreamer, even if your dreams aren't vivid. None of that matters, which is pretty exciting to me.
Hmm.
What matters is you're interested in learning something new about how your mind works, how your unconscious mind thinks and supports you. And I'm like, come on, I'll go where as deep as you want to go with it. But we don't have to have any prerequisite experience. You don't have to be a particular type of dreamer.
Okay. Um, Dang, that made me forget what I was about to say. So, what would you say the difference is in terms of how you look at regular dreams versus nightmares specifically?
Yeah, so um, there's a common belief, I guess, in the world of dream researchers and dream workers, that all dreams come in the service of health and wholeness. So even our nightmares serve a purpose to move us towards processing something that we haven't fully digested yet. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, my view of nightmares is that usually that's the first thing people bring to session with me, is the nightmares, because those are the ones that get our attention the most. There is a caveat in dream work for me that's a really important one. So I'm glad you asked about nightmares. And that is, if sometimes PTSD can cause chronic nightmares, and in that case, dream work is maybe not the best place to address it. You've got to address the maybe the PTSD in a different mode than dream work. That's not going to be your best entry point, right? Um, so with nightmares, I tread lightly, but also there's a way to sit with people in their fear and help them recognize that the dream space is not a place to be afraid. So, we do a lot of work on how to prepare for the next time a nightmare comes so that people don't feel like they're scared to go back to sleep. For me, that's the biggest piece, is I want the dream space to be a safe space. So, I'll tell you my own experience with nightmares and what I do with them. And this is where I start with people, because this is just my own practice. And that is, when I have a nightmare that I wake up from in the middle of the night or whatever, what I will do, because I know they're symbolic, I know that um, it's not anything, it's just a symbolic representation of my fear, and that's it. And I can face fears. So what I'll do is I'll sit up in bed so that I know I'm fully awake and in control, and I'll close my eyes and go to visualize the scariest part of the dream from a place of, I'm awake and I'm in control now. I'll go to the scariest part that I can. Sometimes I can't get to the scariest part, and I'll just go like as far as I'm willing to go to visualize it. And then I will call on my inner divine and I will bless the scene. I will hold this envelopment. I envelop the whole scene and I go, I love you. I know that you're here to serve me. Please don't scare me again. And address and yet help me face this fear. So for people, sometimes that's really helpful for people to know that they can call on their own faith to help them um, brave the dream experience, if you will.
Hmm.
It's pretty deep stuff,
Yeah, it
but
is.
it's also empowering, I think.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I wouldn't have thought of when once you mentioned PTSD, dreams are so powerful because they feel so real. So that would be something I understand it dream work being really difficult for them. Dang, that spawned like a couple questions, so I had to type up a couple while you were saying that. So I'm really interested by your history with spirituality. When did that get started for you?
So I am a highly sensitive, empathic soul in the world. So as a child, I absolutely adored the religion I was brought up in, which is Catholicism. Um, I've always felt very close to God. I've always been drawn to, the idea of angels and guides and that there's a loving presence surrounding me. It also helps that I was brought up in a really healthy, functioning household. Um, and for me as a child, my little family unit, our family was our church more so than the church that we went to every Sunday.
Mm,
So when I grew up and I got into college and I started questioning and getting exposed to all these different religions and all of that, I got distant from the Catholic Church because I'm like, oh, there's a whole bunch of ways to get close to God. There's a whole bunch of ideas about how to practice spirituality. So I got away from the church and um, honestly didn't anchor to anything specific. I'm just like, oh, just positive love and light. It's all happiness all the time. And then infertility came along and broke apart that ship I was sailing on. And I recognized in that place of darkness of like, oh, I don't have any idea what I believe. I don't have anything internal that I trust. And it left me just floating along without any sort of anchor. So so this is where it gets surprising to me. Once I became familiar with my dream space and I knew that dreams were telling me something true, suddenly I had something internal that I could trust. And it wasn't remotely anything godlike that I had heard about before. It was woo woo dreams, which threw me. I was like, I don't know what to do with this.
mhm.
But the more I followed that, I was like, dreams gave me something internal that I could trust. And dreams are not things I can control. So suddenly there's something in me bigger than me communicating with me. And that's where it started. That was like the breadcrumb that led me back to exploring God, but from an intimate, experiential place.
Wow.
And I don't want to take up all of our time talking about spirituality, but now, fast forward 17 years, God is um, real to me in a way that I can't be thrown now. I'm like solid in my faith, and it doesn't matter the language we use to talk about it.
That's really amazing. I love how you paired your because I was also raised Catholic, your spiritual side along with that faith side, and it's grown into this really tight bond that pairs the two, and it's not really found very often. A lot of times it's either one or the other. And I
Yeah.
love that you use your experience with dreams itself to strengthen that bond. So
Yeah.
that really shows me like when you were really getting into your personal dream work, like how you were able to lay down that really solid foundation. What would you say to somebody who's getting introduced to dream work, like how they can prepare themselves and how they can go through the process?
Mm-hmm. I would say if you're getting into dream work, um, loosen the grip on the idea that you have to do it in a certain way, and just let it be fun and follow your curiosity, because you get drawn into this inner realm. And and how do I say this, it doesn't matter which direction you go.
Mm.
What you're doing as you follow your curiosity is it's like recess. I have a quote on my website that, like, your dreams are where your soul comes out to play with your shadows, and it's like recess time for the two of them. And and the whole goal in turning your attention to your dreams is to get to know that inner realm. Just notice what you notice. How many times I dream, just notice that. And what you're doing is creating this dialogue between your conscious waking mind and your unconscious mind. And and it can lead in whatever direction it leads, and all of that is right because it's all you.
Wow.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Hmm. That's really cool because it really, a lot of people, they start to question it and it becomes like this huge existential thing, but it's really whatever you make it to be.
Yeah. And what I practice with people is going wherever they want to go and only as deep as they want to go, so that
Hmm.
it's always safe playground material with a little bit of challenge of stepping out of your comfort zone thrown in.
Okay.
So we grow just a little bit every time, you know. Yeah.
So, what are some common misconceptions with dreams?
Boy, I love your questioning.
Thank you very
Sorry.
much. No, it's
It's
okay.
brilliant. It's brilliant. It's fun to follow. Common misconceptions about dreams. I would say the biggest one is that most dreams don't matter, only the divine, only the precognitive dreams matter. All dreams are giving you insight into how your divineness communicates with you. Another common misconception is that, let's see, I would say there's this idea about the dreams when you are either on medicine or alcohol or eating something right before bed. Those things that disturb your sleep or affect your sleep can have a funhouse mirror effect on your dreams, but we can still pull meaning from them. They're still meaningful. So we don't want to throw them away just because we ate pizza right before bed and had a wonky dream. And this is the last one I'll share. People will figure out what the dream is related to in their waking life and then go, that must be what it means. Okay. But that's just you have just found the path into the woods. You should continue to explore the dream and go into the woods, right? The two questions I ask about every dream is, what is this connected to in my waking life? And then what is the new commentary that this dream is giving me about that event? And people don't ask that second question. People assume there's only one question to ask.
Mm. Wow, that's a really interesting point. It kind of reminds me. I'm not sure if you're interested in this field, but in a lot of Marvel movies, if you first watch what's going on, like they have that story, and then I like to watch a lot of YouTube breakdowns of like all the little Easter eggs and stuff like that they leave in there. It's like, oh well, if you were looking for this, you would have seen that this ties into this, and that this right here is a callback to this, and it's I don't know, something that I hadn't even thought of for dreams before. So
Mm-hmm.
again, if you're one of those people that has like those that vivid imagery, it's really something you can be like, "Oh, wait, maybe I should be looking for this."
That's right, looking for those Easter eggs. That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're not a vivid dream, you can take your dreams that you've experienced and compare three or four of them that are similar, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
terrorist and I'm trying to save all these people. Are the buildings different? Because what makes one dream have a
Mm-hmm.
certain type of building and another dream happen in a parking lot and another dream, you know, there's a lot of comparisons that you can make even with seemingly mundane dreams or seemingly disconnected. The dreams are actually speaking to each other as well. Yeah, just like the Marvel
Mm.
movies.
Yeah, okay. Um, Now, I'm one of those people that I don't know if I necessarily believe this, but there are a lot of times in life where like a 2 second span will happen, and I was like, "Dear Lord, I dreamed this 7 months, 3 weeks, 2 days ago. Just this 2 second glimpse, and I swear it happened like exactly the same." And it's never anything that's a big moment. It's never something serious or anything like that. It's like, oh no, I looked at the clock while I was reading this and it was the exact same way.
Yep. Yep. There's the mystery. There's the
Mm.
spiritual direction piece where people are like, that what do I do with that experience? So the truth is, it actually happens more than you think. So people, the first time I dreamt something that came true the next day, I lost my mind. I
Hmm.
was like, I can tell the future now. I think I'm supposed to save the world. Like I was like, I don't know what to do with this, right? But the truth is, when you tap into your dreams are tapping into not just your unconscious, but maybe a glimpse of the future, maybe the collective unconscious of humanity. Maybe the dream that you had also is tapping into the work that your distant relative is doing on their own stuff, and you dream something that then comes true for them. There's so much mystery with dreams
Hmm.
that I would love to be able to say, oh, this is what that is, but it's even more beautiful that I can't.
Yeah.
And my goal is to normalize us talking about that, because it's a normal part of our capacity as human beings. This interconnectedness, this, maybe there's like, maybe my future self is coming to me in my dreams and sharing with me whatever. It almost is less important what it means and more important that you had that moment of experience.
Mm.
Because again, this is, you're the only one to experience your dream space. So that is a moment of intimacy with the mystery for you that's undeniable. And I'm like, let's just sit and wonder at that. Tell me more, because we need a place to have that as a normal part of our conversations.
I agree. I agree. And
Right.
it's something like you never hear anybody talk about. Like, well, at least in my daily life, I never have somebody that's like, "Oh, do you know what I dreamed last night?" Like, yeah,
Right.
it
Right.
never
That's not a
never
normal
happens.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is for me, but I've worked very hard to make it a normal part
Right,
of
right.
my
That's why I was like, well,
life.
I shouldn't probably say that because I'm sure she talks about it all day.
But I didn't used to. I
Yeah.
totally get it. I totally get it. And you're right. Like, we again, I have really big energy. I'm sure you can already get that. But when it clicked on me, for me, of like, oh my God, this intimate encounter, this is what everybody has access to every night. Why am I just learning or hearing about this?
Hmm.
Why are we not? I mean, this is the most magical place for me to go with people. I'm an introvert. And so I only want to do the one-on-one deep conversations. So this entryway into dream space with people skips all of the, mingling. What do you do for a living? I'm like, tell me about your soul. Let's go there.
Hmm.
And so becoming a dream expert, becoming a spiritual director, and creating this brand that's a safe space for people to come in and indulge in telling these true things about themselves is such an honor for me.
That's awesome. That's really amazing. I'm glad that you've been able to find something that you really love to do in terms of finding that conversation with people and being able to get that that intimacy and skipping all of those steps of the what do you do for a living and all that. It's really powerful to be able to just have that moment with somebody and get that connection. So say somebody is a person that just can't remember their dreams. Like they wake up every
Mhm.
day and they're like, damn it, I can't remember again. what how do you go about changing that? How do you work to
Yeah.
become a person that remembers your dreams?
Yeah. Well, first of all, on my website, I have a free e-series that people can get, which is 6 nights to better dream recall. And it basically is a step by step, try this, now try this, now try this. Because there are lots of ways that you can employ to like trigger dream recall for yourself. One of which is working an old dream. And
Mm,
I would say, come into session and say, I don't remember my dreams. And we'll start there. And I'll go, okay, tell me, have you ever had a dream in your life? Tell me about that one. And so just with that, engaging in that conversation sometimes is enough to trigger dream recall for people. I have had a woman come to a workshop of mine and say, I've never had a dream. I don't remember ever dreaming. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know. First of all, if dream space is the right space for you to start, because what you might want to start with is some creative work, some creative visualization, engaging that visualization part of your brain in waking life elsewhere, and that might trigger your ability to remember the dreams that you're having, right?
mm,
So
okay.
start somewhere else, and then when you're looking over here, a dream might pop up back here, right? That's another way to get at it too. Sometimes it's true that people say they don't remember their dreams, but what they really mean is, I don't have any exciting dreams to share. And when I ask, they're like, well, I mean, I do dream about my dog, or I do dream about going to work every day. That doesn't count. I'm like, oh, it does. You do dream.
Hmm.
So there's lots of different directions that I go with people who don't dream. It's not uncommon. Even my dreams come and go. I'll have months at a time with no dreams. And what I've learned is not to work so hard at them. They'll just come back. They'll come back when I'm
Hmm.
ready, you know? Because
Yeah.
we honestly can't spend every day working dreams. I would never stop tending to my own inner reflection, you know?
Hmm.
So the goal is have a dream a week or a month and work it in depth and spend some time really tapping into the creativity and the meaning for that dream. And then the rest will come along, fill in the
Okay.
gaps. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what is something you wish more people knew about dreams? I know we've went through a lot of it, so I know it's hard to pick one thing now.
Well, no, I think my true answer, honestly, because I'm like, oh, be clever, but really, what I would want for more people to know about their dreams is that they can trust them and they're not literal. So your dreams really are expressing some version of truth, and it doesn't mean a literal interpretation.
Hmm.
That's it. They're trustworthy. They're there working on your behalf. And you don't have to be afraid of them.
Okay.
Oh,
So
it's like I need a billboard now that's like, you can trust your dreams. Like, I
I'll
love that
I'll
question.
put one up in the episodes. You'll be able to see it if you watch this on Spotify or YouTube, which you'll be able to watch the video now. I'll put up a
Yeah.
little something right around this time so you can see the little bit bored.
Brilliant. I love it.
Okay, so before we go, I have a couple rapid fire questions for you. Okay,
Okay. Shoot.
what are some of your goals for the next year?
I have a retreat coming up. And so my goal is to have a successful destination retreat. I've never done anything like it before.
Oh, tell me a little bit about that. A
Good,
destination
because like,
retreat.
yeah, it's called Dream and Soul, and we're gonna be out in the Arizona desert from September 15th through the 18th. And we're going to be tapping into dreams and also what nature has to teach us, and then what our soul needs to like fully process. And we're trying to find new inspiration and aspirations for going
Okay.
forward now. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thank you. I'm excited about it. I have lots of good ideas that we're going to be diving into there.
Okay. What is one book you are reading these days or that you would
Oh,
recommend?
look, it's right. I'm going to reach it right here. I grabbed it the other day, and it's called The Lost Art of Reading Nature's Signs. And
Ooh.
it's actually about like seeing the hills and looking for the growth on one side of the hill versus the other, and navigational techniques from nature.
Wow, that's really cool. I'll link that in the show notes for anybody that's interested.
Very
A-
cool.
And the last question, which is probably going to be the most important one I've asked you today. What is one conspiracy theory you believe in?
What a great question. Ooh, a conspiracy theory I believe in. Oh God. It got um I'm learning to read politicians better. And I'm learning to I believe that they are um not sounds so stupid to say that they're not being truthful, but I feel like I have a detective lens that I didn't used to have years ago, and I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh, I see what you're saying, I see what you're doing, and I'm desperate to know what you're really thinking." I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory, but
I'm going to make you say another one, but I agree with you. I agree with you. It's something I just in the last year, 2 years maybe, probably since COVID, like you just see it like how adamant they will be about point A, and then it's like, well, we're not so sure about that, but if you weren't so sure about it when we were telling you point A, you're a bum. And now it's like, oh well, you guys were probably a little right, but you still gotta believe us on everything we say now. And
I know.
it's
I
just had
know.
me at a point where I just kind of roll with what's going on.
It's
But that doesn't
infuriating.
count. I'm gonna make you come up
Okay.
with another one.
Okay, all right, fine. All right, fine. I'm going to go with aliens. We're going with aliens.
Okay.
Yeah, I just believe that there's way more than we ever than than we will know. I think that cover-ups are probably real.
Mm, okay. So do you think any government, not necessarily ours, has definitive proof of aliens?
I think that probably somebody somewhere has something that they don't know what
Mm,
it is. I did definitive proof. Yes, I
okay.
do.
Hey, I like
Yes.
the way you articulated that was exactly the way I feel about it.
I don't think anybody, if they have something, they have no idea what they
No,
have. We haven't,
no.
so
Okay. So before we go, do you have anything else you want to plug or anything?
no, I mean the retreat, Dream and Soul, man, come out there, just look at the details and come join me, because um, I'm just so excited to host it. Like I said, it's my first destination retreat,
Mm-hmm.
and then so being in the desert has a really strong. It's calling me really strongly right now, and I think we're going to discover a lot of thin places out there.
Okay. All right. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to be all for us. I'm Dominic Mills here with Pam Muller. Thank you so much for coming on.
Dominic, thank you so much. And I just want to say sweet dreams to you and sweet dreams to everybody listening.
Oh, smooth. I like it. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Dominic Mills podcast. It was amazing to learn from sweet Georgia Pam, and I hope this conversation inspired you all to take a closer look at your dreams. If you like the show, please remember to leave a like or a 5-star review wherever you listened in. That's going to be all for me. Make sure to stay safe and stay curious.